Hey guys, my name is X Factor. I hope you're having a great day, and by now you've probably already figured that the grind in Star Wars Battlefront 2 is really extreme. You gotta be careful how you upgrade and craft your star cards. So let's go over my infantry killer, aka YODA, talking about the power of Unleash, Presence, and Dash Attack. We really build this around his Unleash ability, where he right-clicks or uses his defensive stance. He actually absorbs the damage only to push it out. So here, see the three cards I have. Earned It, I have. The area of effect of Unleash grows faster when absorbing blaster shots. Unleash, the area of effect of Unleash minimum size is larger by 20%. The Master of the Force, when the Unleash radius is at max distance, unleashing it will deal more damage. So what you're going to look for is that cone in front of you when you're defending yourself. And the only time Unleash works is if you're holding that right click or that defensive blocking stance, and then you hit Q. You can't store it up. You can't quick dash. You can't alt dash around a corner, then pop people. It will be minimum Unleash cone and minimum Unleash damage. So it's important. Find lots of baddies in one direction, load it up, and drop them. It will pretty much one-shot any infantry-based class in the game, and it's a ton of fun to use. But before we get to bust out a hero or villain, we actually need to make enough points that we are able to do that. One of the things that I really like about Star Wars Battlefront II when playing this game mode is there's lots of different flanking positions and routes that people simply haven't discovered or haven't used yet. A lot of times you see your teammates who wave spawn in, just run in a straight line towards the objective, or the fight may have been when they last died. But at any point in time, if you feel cornered, the vast majority of these maps have multiple flanking routes. Only a few times do they condense down into these choke points. So it's really nice to get a couple kills, maybe pop your ability, and keep going. You want to get your hero? This is it. If you're playing the tractor beam generator, you have to hold G. Now, in previous DICE games, like Battlefield, if you're basically arming an MCOM, you could hold the button and still shoot. You can't shoot. You actually have to step off. So be careful if you're getting rushed. Now, the spot that I'm looking towards the right, that's a spot that they could push. There's a door that opens there. And, of course, the main way, and then two different ways behind me right now. So it's very important to pay attention to who is actually dying on your mini-map, and if you see a big red ball. Now, remember, we talked about playing the objective. Look at all these points. This is massive. Did you see that little cone there? More than likely an officer. That's the type of cone that we're going to be dealing with when it comes to YODA and his Unleash. So there, we just got the massive bonus. Here's the double doors that they can come through. More open area. They can be up on the scaffolding. But if you want to get some quick points, it's all about the juicy side rage and back rage, because you get tons of extra points in Star Wars Battlefront 2, which could really help you out. Now be careful, in an area like this, you're looking towards their spawn, towards the right. Obviously, it's a grayed out zone. And every once in a while, when you open that door, there might be 10 people there, because in my experience, spawn shift in Star Wars Battlefront 2 drastically. One side will get a heavy spawn. A couple seconds later, the other side will get a heavy spawn. Very rarely is it a slow trickle like what you just saw. Trying to test if my scan dart works in there. Does not really work in the gray zone. Shows it as a red hot area, but doesn't indicate people on the mini-map. And there you can see one of these spawns actually shifting as I'm standing in the ouchie burning stuff and I need to get out. One of the star cards that I have available on my assault is the upgraded Vanguard. Whenever I equip it and I get a kill, it refreshes it 45% more. And it's allowed me to go on 8 to 10 to 11 man kill streaks. But remember, as an assault, you're pretty squishy. One thing that you can do when you're assault is actually dance in between shots, because it's rather lengthy in between your Vanguard shots. You can do a roll. By the time that rolls out, you're ready to shoot again. If you roll with something like the full auto or anything else, there's a pause before getting back up. But if you do it with your Vanguard ability, it's timed just about right. I really enjoy YODA when playing against infantry. He can be pretty good against heroes and villains, depending on which team you're playing for. But he has to be extremely elusive. A lot of things that I see people do with heroes or villains is just smashing mouse button 1. And believe it or not, that's the worst thing that you can do, because you get stuck in these extra long animations, and more than likely you're whiffing. If you alt strafe in a direction, left or right, You don't do that forward roll animation with Yoda when he's doing his lightsaber attack. It's just a quick swipe, which is huge because you can sidestep a lot of damage. You can make people miss. And here you see the unleash ability. Watch that cone. Sees the builds? Didn't let it go max build. Out of bounds. You can actually get trapped on that door if they back up. So gotta get out of there. Now the other thing is I can heal other heroes. I can heal myself. And I can heal friendly players. So let's take a look at that cone again. That looks like a big, mean, heavy. And I wasn't able to pop it off. That's a perfect example of if you let go of that defensive stance, the right click where your saber's up, that you're not going to get that Q ability. It's going to be a basic damage, which is maybe 50 to 60. You have to kill the squishies, and it's a knockback. So if you are near the trash can, if you can set them off the map, you can always use that as a panic move. But if you're going against another hero, especially somebody like Vader, you definitely don't want to be right-clicking and defending because he will smash right through that with his rage. Anytime I see Yoda as Vader, I smash E, smash him a couple times, and he's dead. Yoda needs to dance all day. There you see me kind of testing out the Q through a doorway with line of sight, and I actually didn't get a single kill right there. You also had to be worried about inclines with Yoda's ability, and Darth's actually, so if there's any sort of stairway involved, any sort of elevation change, you may be taking damage from them, you may be blocking it, they might be in the cone to hit Q, and then they either take bad damage or nothing happens, as I picked one guy to one shot right there before buffing myself. It's a great idea when pushing with Yoda. Buff the group, get your buff, and then go. And remember, heroes are a little bit different in Star Wars Battlefront 2. As your health gets ripped up, it doesn't recover as much. So you might be at 2/3 health Yoda. Well, thanks to Yoda, he can actually heal himself. He can get back to full health for a few seconds. Or you might be 1/3 health hero or villain. Then you really need the help of an officer if you can't self-buff to really help make a push. So be very mindful of that and start to learn how to sidestep with your heroes and villains. Doesn't matter if it's a blaster-based hero like Han, learn to dance all day. Can't tell you how many times I've 1v1 Darth Vader or Emo Ren, and here's a good one right here, just by dancing. So right there, the elevation didn't mess me up, and that's a 5 or 6 bang right there. A lot of times it has to do with the verticality. If it's facing up, if the stairways were coming the other way, I would have had a problem. So keep in mind, if you are doing this build is absolutely phenomenal for close quarters or anything that's super heavy. But always be mindful of those big red dots in the mini-map that are the other villains. Be careful who they are. If they are a blaster-based hero or villain, you should be able to eat them up pretty well. Just make sure you stay on your feet. Don't try to take too much damage. Don't be afraid to recover and get your health back before it gets too far down. You just saw an officer there putting on some pretty nice dance moves. And here's a full shielded heavy. So almost blast him in one shot. Finish up with the dash attack. The dash attack can be used also offensively and defensively. A lot of times I'll alt attack in, I'll dance around, I'll make a swipe, and I'll do the dash because it covers a ton of distance and does good damage on the way out, because the last thing you want to do is commit too far in, need to get out, and have nothing to help you, especially with all the different stuns that are available in Star Wars Battlefront 2. And remember, do not over mouse button 1. You get stuck in animations. The more animation you're in, the more you're a free target, and you're simply absolutely going to get destroyed. Can't tell you how many times I've overclicked or made a bad decision and been absolutely nuked as a hero or villain. It really can be that simple, especially if you eat some sort of stun. For those of you wondering, Yoda can do okay in heroes and villains. This build is not something I would recommend because it's great for multiple targets that are squishy. You'd probably want to go a Yoda tank build or something with a bit more stamina. If you run out of stamina, you can't block, and you can't hit very hard, which means that you're basically a free target yet again, so be very mindful of that. The bonus to Yoda is his quick knockback. It is an instant. You can put him to the trash can to the right and off other maps. And of course, his ability to heal himself and other heroes. If you're able to play with the group with Yoda, and there are 3 other heroes or villains next to you, depending on what team you play on, that's a huge buff, especially If the enemy team is heavy on the objective, heavy on the target, and your team's not doing so great staying on the target. YODA is a blast to use, and don't be afraid to use his evasiveness. Leave a target alive if it keeps you at 3/4 health or max health. Get a couple guys and dance off. So here's a special trooper there. Didn't exactly get it up to max. You could see that cone of fire grow, but that's not bad damage for a battle point-based trooper. Don't think I could one-shot him at any point in time, but we've one-shot countless heavies and, of course, assaults and specialists and officers. So he's a great little tool to play peekaboo with. Obviously, they see you on the mini-map as a big red dot. Maybe these two guys did it. And there's an example of using your double lunge ability, the F key, when somebody's being elusive. Because you want to minimize that time to kill so you can get back to cover, build up your health. As you can see now, I'm not at max health. Even if I heal myself, I could be max if I overheal, but that's just for a short period of time. And here you have me running into a brand new, fully loaded Boba Fett, which if he's on the ground, the Q ability works pretty well. But the problem is he just hit his barrage, and then he hit his concussive shot, and I'm blind. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the guide with YODA. He's an absolute blast to play. If you guys have any questions or comments, because I know it's really hard to earn star cards, don't forget to leave those down below. There's a build for whatever mode or playstyle you're looking for. There's some cards that are most certainly better than others. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys soon.
Shuttle is ready for launch. Heading over with a squad to join up. We took losses, but those who live, live because of you.